Hey guys, Marissa at KitchenTableStamper.com. I want to run you through this fun little stocking stuffer today. I'm making these for the craft fairs and markets this year and thought it would be a fun video to make. I found these pens on Amazon. They're candy cane shaped and the ink is peppermint scented. They're really pretty awesome and the ink really smells like peppermint. So when I found them, took a chance on them and bought them and then fell in love with them, this is how I decided to package them up for market. We might be making this one as part of our Wrap Up the Holidays class, where we'll do bags, tags, boxes, gifts, stocking stuffers, all the things that you need to wrap up the holidays. So it's potentially one of the projects for Wrap It Up for the Holidays. I'll let you know more, and you can check the calendar page on KitchenTableStamper.com for details as that emerges. All right, let's get started with the project here. I'm gonna go through the supplies that you need. I will link the source to these pens if it's something you're interested in. I picked them up on Amazon. Stampin' Up supplies that you need are Cookie Cutter Christmas and the Cookie Builder Punch. I just love this stamp set. It's an oldie but goodie. It's been in for 2 holiday catalogs now. It's now in the annual catalog. It came out last year in the holiday catalog. Got Hang Your Stocking. This is also from the last holiday catalog and it's now in the annual catalog. We're going to use Happiness is Coming to Town. I love this greeting. My sprigs here and foliage, this greenery is from Trim Your Stocking. I've got the Pinewood Planks 3D Texture Dynamic Embossing Folder. We're going to add a little texture to our bag topper here. You can see it best on that side. I've got a 1 3/8 and a 1 1/4 circle punch. And then I'm using my old school Stampin' Up scallop punch. You can absolutely substitute this for the layering circle scallop. I have a Stampin' pads here, Real Red and Soft Suede for this project. And my bag for this project is, again, from my craft fair stash. It's a clear bags B2X8SNF. All right. The paper that you need for this project are scraps for stamping of Real Red, crumb cake, some garden green, a little bit of pear pizzazz, Real Red, Whisper White. Okay, so the pieces that are important for measurements and for this bag, to fit this bag, are these here. We've got Real Red, and the backer for this bag is 7 3/4 inches by 2. I've got some Be Merry Designer Series paper. That one is 7 1/2 by 1 3/4. For my topper, I have a piece of Whisper White cardstock that's 2 3/8 inches by 3 1/2. And I've got a decorative strip of Quilted Christmas Designer Series paper that is 2 3/8 by 1 inch. Let me get the Simply Scored tool and we'll score our topper. Okay, so we've got the Simply Score tool and we're going to put our topper in on the 3-inch side and we're going to score, the 3 1/2 inch side, and we're going to score at 1 3/4. Now let's emboss this topper, but before I do, I'm just going to give the fold a gentle crease so that it's prominent even after embossing. Okay, I've got my Big Shot with the platform and the Pinewood Planks embossing folder, and I'm going to pop this little piece right into the folder, making sure that the edge of the topper runs parallel with the edge of the wood grain. Drop that in the machine and put 1 cutting pad on top and roll it through. And while we've got the Big Shot, see how beautiful that embossing is? Let's go ahead and cut these 2 sprigs from Trim Your Stocking. So let me set up for die cutting. My thin die adapter is in there and I've got a cutting pad down. I'm just going into those scraps that I had shown you before, Pear Pizzazz, and we're going to do a little sprig, and then Garden Green, and we'll do this little bit bigger sprig here. Okay, I've got my sprigs and my die brush. Let's get those little guys out of there. Now let's do some stamping. Okay, I've got my Soft Suede and Real Red. I've got crumb cake and some Real Red and the Whisper White. Now, we're going to check the orientation of our punch before we stamp. I always recommend that you do that. So this is the way our punch feeds. So we want to stamp our gingerbread so his legs are down toward us. So let's ink him up in soft suede and stamp him on the edge of the paper, head up, legs down. Now we're going to stamp his little bow tie on the edge of here, and again we want to watch the orientation of the punch. So we're going to ink up the little bow tie and stamp that on the edge of the paper in the same direction that the bow tie will punch. Now let's go ahead and punch our bits. There's our little bow tie. I want the little buttons also, so we're going to put the edge of this Whisper White scrap in the punch and punch. Ah! One of those little buttons flew. All right, there's our other little button. Put it right next to the bow tie so we don't lose it. Now let's punch our gingerbread dude. And there he is. All right, we got a little more punching to do here. Got a little bit bigger scrap of garden green and a 1 3/8 inch circle punch. Let's punch one of those. Got my handy dandy old school scallop punch. Punch one of those. Get a layering circle from the die set if you don't have the scallop punch. And now let's get our Whisper White back in here, and our happiness is coming to town sentiment. And let's stamp that on this Whisper White. Got a 1 1/4 inch circle punch, and we're going to punch out that greeting. Okay, I think we've got all of our pieces ready. Let's assemble. All right, I'd like to start here with our little dude. And let me get the samples back in here so you can see what I'm doing. There they are. Aren't they cute? Okay. I've got multi-purpose liquid glue, and I'm going to dab just a little bit on each of the buttons and right at the gingerbread boy's neck. Now with my paper piercer, I'll touch just the edge of that glue and pick up the little buttons and drop them in. And the bow tie, that one's easy enough to grab. There he is. We'll let him dry for a second before we handle him anymore. I've got my bone folder, and I'm going to just lightly run across the bag topper. Got my Snail Adhesive. Let's see here. We're going to center and layer the Designer Series paper. And then we can just drop this little treat right in the bag. First the backer, then our fun candy cane pen with the peppermint scented ink. Okay, so now we're going to add the topper to our bag here. So let's center this bag topper and bring it almost down to the candy cane. We want to staple through the cardstock backer so that the staple doesn't just run the bag and the topper come right off. We're going to put the bag in upside down. We want that smooth side of the staple on the back, and we can cover up this rough side on the front. I've got some fast fuse in my Designer Series paper. Let's go ahead and add a nice generous amount of fast fuse so we can cover that staple up. How about cuties? Then with multi-purpose liquid glue, we'll add our sprigs for embellishment. Just a little bit, scribble it on the back. add it across the designer series paper. While we're multi-purpose liquid gluing, let's do a little bit on the back of that Happiness is Coming to Town. We need a mini glue dot and some dimensionals here. I'm going to put a dimensional on the back of the greeting, adhere it to my scallop, and then I'm going to adhere the scallop to the bag with a couple of mini glue dots. I got my little gingerbread boy here, and I want a couple of half bits of dimensional here because we're going to put some kind of down his legs on the lower half of him. I'm going to put one behind his head. We want him to stay supported. Add him on. What a cutie! And my last little touch, I've got this Pear Pizzazz sprig, and I think it just adds a little bit of dimension when you add that second green color in. We're going to add a little multi-purpose liquid glue, tuck it up underneath our gingerbread boy, and embellish. There they are. What do you think of that? There's my peppermint scented ink candy cane pen stocking stuffers. All right, if you've got any questions about this project, if you've got questions about Wrap It Up for the holidays, Kitchen Table Stamper, Chicago area Stampin' Up events, email me, Marisa at kitchentablestamper.com. Thanks for watching.